God, I love when Penn Jillette is in studio, and he is in studio, my friends.
I am.
He just did some TV. I said, how is the TV?
Well, before we were on, the big story was if your teen is texting a lot, they may be having sex. They may be doing drugs. A new study out tells you that teens that text 3 hours a day or on Facebook 3 hours a day may be having sex, and they may be doing drugs.
My 11-year-old nephew is obviously having sex and doing drugs. Because I took him to a hockey game recently, and he didn't even see the game because he texted the entire fucking time.
Well, it's pretty exciting to be at a hockey game and having sex with your uncle.
Yeah.
I don't know what...
That is a bullshit study.
I don't know what icing is, but he's bad touch.
But he has some on his back.
Every time there's icing, that's where my bathing suit touches.
Yes.
Show on the doll where he touched her. Show on the hockey player where he touched you.
Do you? I'm a texter. I love to fucking. What's better than photographing your cock and sending it? You ever send a
like
cock?
doing that, Jimmy?
Of course.
Yeah, but could you lose my address?
I just like to spray paint it black and freak them out.
I have a very subtle question to ask you.
Sure.
After the show in Vegas, we meet people, and they comment on shows, and they say stuff like, loved you on Letterman. They'll say, really enjoyed you on Dancing with the Stars. Then they say, go on O&A again. They never ever say, I was good on it. They never ever say they liked it. It is a straight command.
Just
go on O&A again. And every other show, they comment about what happened, how they did it, or say, I love that show. You know, I love Letterman. You should go on there again. Nothing.
They don't want to give out compliments for some reason. We have the weirdest fans in entertainment.
O&A again. A simple command. If you know what's fucking good for you, go on O&A again. I'm like, maybe it implies maybe you'll learn to do it. Maybe you'll get good at it.
What do they mean? Is it a compliment?
They like you. They don't know how to say it. They all have Asperger's. Bunch of dopes. But they do love you.
They don't want to compliment us for some reason. I don't know why.
Poor self-image.
I just think it's great.
Half the time, I don't even know if they're our fans. I get very confused. You have arguments with some of these people. I'm like, I'm just a fan. I'm like, how are you a fan? I don't understand. You haven't said anything to me that indicates that you're an actual fan.
Nothing complimentary. Nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Just awful people.
You know they like you because they're not spitting on you. Like, that's how.
Yeah, sometimes.
Really weird.
Well, you know, I just thought it's a very subtle thing. I don't know what it means. But I said, I say it gets your show gets commented on as much as any other show.
That's awesome.
But never, they don't like adjectives. They don't like adverbs. They
don't
like
know them.
Simple command.
What it is.
Simple command. Here's what you do.
Yeah, that's pretty much our audience.
Radio.
God bless them.
Go.
God bless them.
Now, why are you in town? You got something going on?
Kind of, sort of. The big thing is that Teller is opening a show called Play Dead. Down at the Players Theater on McDougal. It's it's a spook show. It's an adult.
Jesus, don't say that. At least say minstrel show. We don't like using that language here.
Oh, good. We're going to see Teller singing Minnie the Moocher.
And it's they're doing a big scary resurrecting the dead.
Really?
A show. Mind reading and good magic tricks. A guy named Todd Robbins, who you may know. He's a geek. Eats glass, and I figure a guy eats glass.
Is he speaking it or no?
Yeah, Teller's not in the show. Teller directed it and wrote it. Then he goes back to Vegas to make money.
Oh, wow. Yeah, to make the real money.
But it's great. I'll be seeing the opening Wednesday night.
I might have to check that out.
You should. You should go by.
It sounds like kind of old school.
Old school, but also has nudity.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
You can't go wrong with that.
A hot woman covered with blood.
That
What
probably
more
Teller's idea.
Yeah, it was.
I would assume. That's why I love watching bullshit too, because through the information you get from it, occasionally you do see a nice nude piece of ass there.
Well, when we did the vaccination show, Showtime didn't want to do the vaccination show, and they said, it's not really sexy. And I said, well, I'll get you a nude playmate to talk about vaccinations.
No, I got a son. He's 6 months old today, actually. The vaccination thing scared the shit out of all of us. I didn't see that bullshit. What? in just a quick little summary, what you learned.
The quick summary is you don't want your son to get whooping cough or smallpox.
Right.
Get them all the vaccinations.
So you have no fucking choice, really.
You have no choice at all, and you don't want a choice. I mean, if you were living in a time without vaccinations, it is all you would want.
Right.
And it's the great, and there's this anti-vaccination thing that started on very bad science, the Wakefield studies out of Britain, and it's total, complete, and utter bullshit. But most of the bullshit wastes people's money and is kind of funny. The vaccination bullshit kills babies, kills children.
And did you go after Jenny McCarthy?
Yeah, we sure did.
Good for you.
And what we did was...
Good for fucking you, man.
We said all Jenny McCarthy has going for her was she was a Playboy model, and people are listening to her. So we had a Playboy centerfold who came out topless. But the great thing was, it was kind of an odd moment because one of the writers, his son, is autistic.
Right.
So he brought out a Playboy model to explain the science. And she was topless, explaining the science. And we also brought out our friend's son, who's 10 years old, who's autistic. So we had brought a 10-year-old autistic child on the set with a pair of 44 double Ds.
How do you sell that to Showtime in the meeting? Like, look, we got the autistic kid, we got the girl with great tits. It's handled.
Well,
we would never be able to get that done.
And we brought the writer out, and his line, the big laugh line, was "Eyes front, son," and that was supposed to be the joke. But as you guys know very well, when you're doing something that's supposed to be a joke, you sometimes have to actually do it.
Yeah.
So while you're doing this, he's going, that lady doesn't have a shirt on, and we went, she doesn't. That's kind of the joke. Well, what's the joke? Well, the joke is that you're a child, and I think what we're doing is very, very wrong. Just stand there.
Just suffice to say it's wrong.
Nice.
And the great thing was that the Playboy model that we got to read the stuff read the whole study on prompter, and then turned to me and asked me the questions that she had just answered reading the prompter. She read the prompter, I guess, phonetically.
Zero comprehension.
Yeah, no comprehension. And then just asked me, and I went, well, it's on the prompter. When was the study discredited? Well, you just said.
You just said it.
That's awesome. Can you imagine it if we try to get that done?
No.
Autistic kid, 10 years old.
We couldn't get either one of those things. A girl with great tits.
Right.
Couldn't get a girl with great tits, and autism.
Or an autistic. If we said one of the either.
Just pick one.
Both in one.
Because they're both money on the radio.
I certainly bow to Penn Jillette because he gets shit done. He doesn't have to deal with lawyers in this corporate crap.
Oh, no, lawyers are really, really important on bullshit. We 8 years. 8 years of then there's this asshole, and we've never been successfully sued. But you'd love the notes that our lawyers make because one of the reasons
your lawyers are different than ours. We need your lawyers then.
One of the reasons we say motherfucker so much, and one of the reasons we invented the term cunt pickle was you're trying not to say liar because liar is actionable.
There you go.
So we get notes in our script that say, and I love this, from the legal department in a little square with a stamp on it, can't you call this guy a motherfucker? Because
call him a liar.
And you also can't say a product doesn't work, right? Like if you say a product,
you can say it's a piece of shit,
but you can't say it doesn't work.
Exactly. That's where you get sued. So Al Goldstein, who I just visited in the Veterans Hospital.
Yeah, I saw your tweet about that. He's not doing well, huh?
No, he was homeless for a while. One of these heroes of free speech. The Topeka versus Goldstein case is amazing. And now he's in a I got him out of the homeless shelter and got him a place to stay.
How did
and
he
stuff.
get himself in a position where he was homeless?
Wow. Was Screw not making money for a long time?
Screw kind of started doing less well, and Al is crazy and pisses off a lot of people. I mean, watch the trajectory of Al Goldstein because we're all heading down it. But he was in the Veterans Hospital, and I went to visit him, and he's doing okay there. He's got some, he's old and got some problems. And
I remember when he was self-destructing here in New York a few years back. Wow.
But I just love Al, and I went up with Ratso, Ratso Sloman, who wrote the Stern books with him, and wrote the David Blaine book with him and stuff. Wonderful writer and friend of Bob Dylan's and stuff. And I was there with Ratso, on the elevator of the Veterans Hospital, which could be considered by some to be a depressing place.
Yeah. Cool.
And we're on the elevator. I look over at Ratso, and Ratso is a creep. Right? And then I can see myself in the mirror and I go, holy fuck, I'm a creep. Because, when I was like 18, the long hair and the being enormous and that kind of stuff, it was kind of like, well, he's a kid. He's a crazy kid. Yeah. But now, Ratso's 62 and I'm 55 and I go, holy fuck, I'm the guy you're scared of in the park. And now I'm in the Veterans, hospital elevator and I'm thinking, Al Goldstein used to eat at Le Cirque with porn stars, and now the only two people that visit him are Ratso and Penn. And I'm just telling you, man, if things happen bad to you, and the two people that love you left in the world are Ratso and Penn, just kill yourself.
That's a problem.
But Al Goldstein told me long ago, he said, whenever you're mad at somebody in public, don't ever say liar. Don't ever say cheat. Say motherfucker. Say cocksucker. Because if you go to court, it's harder for them to bring that up. I'm not a motherfucker. I didn't fuck my mother. What did he mean by motherfucker? Did he mean liar? Well, he meant he really didn't like you when you pissed him off. It's much safer.
Sure.
So you have to be for lawsuits. So our lawyers write in the margin, call this guy a motherfucker.
That's great.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, lawyers there to protect the show.
And the great thing was, after 8 years, whenever it airs 85, 90 shows, we had one editorial comment from a lawyer that had nothing to do with advice or anything, and that was on the show about pyramid schemes, which we were not allowed to say pyramid. We couldn't say pyramid scheme. We had to say, multi-level marketing. Couldn't say Ponzi.
You couldn't say Ponzi either.
And we did one. So the only thing we could do was do a whole Egyptian scene with me going to tell her, what are those things behind us? And then going on about it.
Yes.
And we did a whole thing about Social Security. And I went, Social Security, this many people pay in, and then we can pay out. This is where it starts. I don't know why I'm saying this on a show about multi-level marketing ripoffs. I guess it's kind of a non sequitur. And the lawyer wrote in the margin, hey, wait a minute. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
That was the lawyer's comment.
Never going to be enough people to pay in to pay off who's in there.
Of course not. No, it's
and
a complete
collapses.
Scam. But I like that the lawyer discovers that at work.
Right.
Going to a show called...
From your show.
Wait a minute.
All the schooling and everything meant nothing. Just
you're having a
watch
good
an
time.
episode of bullshit. That one was really good because it was the whole that guy that was selling that beverage.
Oh, it was so sad, wasn't
it? And his meeting with other, and he's trying to get other people into this product with him because it's never made selling the product. It's supposed to be made getting other people that are your underlings.
You couldn't say pyramid, though, huh?
Could not say the word pyramid.
Because there's things like Amway and other things.
You have to say multi-level marketing.
Right.
Multi-level marketing. 'Cause if you say pyramid, it's like saying liar, and you're in all
is it
sorts
really?
of trouble.
Okay.
No, it's a bad thing. Yeah. And but
the math behind that was fascinating too. Yeah. And no matter how many times I've seen that take on it, I watch and go, how can anyone not see this?
At level 7, you have to be selling your shit to every human being.
To everyone on the planet. The math is stunning to watch.
Bad really
it's that exponential thing.
Yes.
Exponential will fuck your shit.
It screws your mind up.
I should certainly have a math class. Exponential will fuck your shit. Okay, see you tomorrow.
Didn't you get involved in one of these?
No.
Pyramid?
No. I was I was brought
the really lame one with the money. You told that story once on the air.
I think my mom did
with
once.
With pilots and stewardesses.
I've never gotten
where you had to get people to just give you money. Remember that one?
Yeah, I never got involved in that. I got taken to an Amway meeting once, though, and it's that whole secretive thing that was like, it's a business proposition. I'm like, what is it? I go, well, we'll tell you. You got to get there. Just get in a suit and
But the thing that really was so heartbreaking, the guy selling the shit drink, is he's a really good guy.
Yeah, he seems
and he
like
wants
a good
to
enough
work
fella.
really hard. You know, in the way we lay out the show, he's in the villain category, but he's not. He's absolutely, completely a victim. All he wants to do, you know, it's bad economic times. He wants to work his ass off. He's willing to invest money, willing to work his ass off, and they're just eating him for breakfast. You know, they're it's horrible.
Yeah, when he was having that meeting with the other gentleman to try to persuade him into joining the ranks, it was the saddest thing. This
was he
guy
good
had
at it?
No game.
No game. No, but he didn't even bring the drink with him, which is the big hit. Which is, here, you're bringing. I'm going to sell you something, and I don't bring it with me.
He didn't even.
We got this great drink we're going to sell. Oh, do you have the drink? No.
And
obviously, it's part of the script to not bring the drink with you.
Yeah, don't bring it.
I wonder why.
Because the drink
probably
sucks.
terrible.
Yeah,
obviously
it sucks.
here.
Like, I can't sell this shit.
You would bring it if it's a good product you're proud of.
Doesn't sound good. Come in a tumbler.
Probably be better.
Hey, how's Christopher Hitchens doing? I know you guys are friends. Is he any improvements?
I haven't. I'm so afraid. I write him an email now and again, and how you doing? And he writes back, I have cancer. You know,
Jesus,
you don't have that kind of thing. And he started to do this. I probably shouldn't even say this because people could misinterpret it, but it strikes me so funny. I'll say to him, you know, I'm going to be down in D.C. Will I be able to get together with you? He always writes, if Allah wills it.
Oh, shit.
And I think he's just doing it as a joke to make me think that maybe he's lost his mind. But, you know, as we all know, when you do jokes long enough to make people think you've lost your mind, it soon becomes indistinguishable from someone who's lost their mind.
Perhaps you've lost your mind. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it feels like. Maybe Charlie Manson still thinks he's doing jokes. About, you know, I'm going to put this swastika in my head. People will think I've lost my mind.
They're going to think I'm batshit crazy.
He was kidding back then. I said, get me a cup of coffee. What's with the Folgers lady?
Oh, Christ.
Wow.
Oh, God
Hey, get this. I'm going to carve a swastika into my forehead with a spoon. That's going to flip them out, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll get them.
And I'll do it right before my parole board meeting. And then I'll just laugh at the end. Charlie, even the laugh at the end's not going to play.
Yeah.
No, but I'll show it, then I'll go, and then they'll know I'm okay.
He absolutely had no clue that he was crazy. He really didn't.
He wants to stay in jail, man. He's smart. He wants to stay.
Yeah, well, I think there's no doubt about it that he wants to stay.
He's probably got a nice in there now at this point, right?
None of them. Did any of them got a Squeaky Fromm gotten out, or
a few of them have.
Tex Watson? Any of those guys?
Ooh, I think
one of them got out
in a pine box.
Lynette, did Lynette get out?
I would just like to just go back a moment and say, both of you said he's probably got it nice in there.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No, huh?
Why?
I'm just saying I don't think it's nice.
We don't think it's that bad in prison. It becomes your life.
Yeah, okay.
We had this whole discussion
people
earlier.
Are very adaptable.
Yeah, if you get cable TV and you can watch your shows.
Yeah, I think you just
kind of missing, really.
Become like,
why don't you
well, I'm in prison. It's not good. It sucks, but you don't.
It doesn't suck.
It's not like looking from the outside in, going like, "Holy fuck, I don't want to be there."
Well, you know,
you're in then, and
it just
then
becomes your life.
All right, well, it's lunchtime. It's laundry time.
Every study they have ever done shows that people in horrific situations, it's not as bad as people looking at them from the outside.
Right, and
the people in good situations, it's not as good.
Right.
Think.
Yeah.
You know, there's great interviews with the Siamese twins attached at the head.
Oh yeah, those two ladies there. Yeah.
No, not the two-headed one.
No, the one with
attached.
The one with the country western singer.
Yeah.
Not very good, by the way.
Attached at the head.
Right.
And their life, by every way shrinks can measure it, is as good as a regular person's life.
Sure.
Just not that bad. You get used to having your sister attached to your head.
You just that was my whole take on prison. And when they say, well, this guy's got life without parole and it's great, and I just go like, well, it's just his life now.
Adapt.
But you've learned some crazy things about me over the years.
Yes,
I'm going to give you a more crazy thing about me.
All right.
I don't believe that I believe in punishment. I believe just get people away, make sure they don't do it again. But I have no desire to have them suffer. You know, this whole vindication thing, the punishment thing, it's just not part of my heart. I like Mark David
part of mine.
Mark David Chapman.
Yeah.
You killed John Lennon. Now, go away. I don't even want to see you again. We're just done.
But where would they then go?
I don't want to. No, that's fine. Prison is fine.
Oh, okay.
But do it as cheap as you can, but you don't need to make it more uncomfortable. I don't mind if they have to. I mean, just go away. That's
like
all
almost a Buddhist vibe to that.
Just go away.
Patrick Duffy, when his parents got murdered in the bar, said he felt for those guys who did it. He said, imagine having to live the rest of your life knowing you did that.
But some people,
that was his Buddhist. That's kind of a Buddhist thing almost.
Yeah, but I mean,
care that
I don't think they
did
care. But just get them away, and that's fine. They can be in prison.
Perfect case is the Connecticut case with the mother and the two daughters that were horribly killed and raped.
Burned alive.
Obviously, you can look at it and say, just go away. But as a family member, as that father, that you want retribution for.
But that's not going to help.
But someone's always going to want retribution.
Right, but the retribution is never going to help.
Not going to help
anybody.
Really?
Not anybody. No. If you've had something horrible like that happen, there's nothing that's going to help you. Fucking up someone else isn't going to make you feel better. You're just fucked. It's a horrible, terrible, bad thing.
Is there a deserving thing? Like that person deserves to suffer?
I don't think so. See, I told you I was going to that's a nut position.
No, it's not a nut position. Here's a nut position. I actually understand your point. I don't agree with it, but I understand where you're coming from. Like Jimmy said, it's sort of almost a Buddhist thing.
You get that punishment thing, it starts building in circles. I don't think it really just go away. But we've all decided that we'd be okay in prison. Shall we knock off a liquor store?
Yeah, let's give it a whirl. I don't think you're okay, but I think people are adaptable enough where
people are so adaptable.
It just becomes your life.
Like when you hear the family members of that had a crime committed against them saying, "I just want to know that he's suffering in prison every day," and it's like he's not. Hey, I'm sure there are days where it's like, wow, this sucks. I'm in prison. I can't do this. I can't do that. But there are days he's probably laughing his balls off with another guy down there watching TV or whatever. He's not suffering all the time.
You want him to suffer because the victim's family or whatever. You know, I mean, they're suffering constantly.
Sure. Of course.
So
they're
you want to
constantly
think
in pain,
constantly.
looking at pictures of a loved one that was murdered.
Of course. There's nothing worse.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And I'm not in any way diminishing their pain. I'm just saying I don't know how you get rid of it. I don't know how you get. I don't know how an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, biblical retribution doesn't seem to accomplish anything.
I'm not sure.
But I think you should do like a month of your show from prison.
In prison.
I'm sure we would be horrified.
That would be fantastic.
But the only thing that stops us from
maybe 2 months in, we'd be like, this is not that bad.
Is jail.
The thought of being incarcerated
is the only thing that stops us from fucking up.
Kept me a relatively good boy.
I'll tell you though,
years.
I think that the funk would get to you.
Yeah,
just
that
the
would
smell.
have to be.
Just the smell. I read this book. There's this book.
Man groin smell.
By man. I think it's worse than man groin smell.
Real
I think
man-ass smell?
I think man groin smell is what you'd be praying for.
That would be inviting.
Praying for it.
I think that.
And God, please give me man groin smell.
Yeah, I think. Well, there's this book called Packing for Mars by Mary Roach that talks about what it's like to be an astronaut, which I didn't know that being an astronaut is breathing shit and vomit with every breath. That shit and vomit floats through the air, and that psychologically, guys who are trained, professionally trained to deal with each other after 6 months end up punching each other in the face in zero G. And they're talking about sending people to Mars, which is 500 days round trip, never opening a window, breathing your and other people's shit and vomit and piss constantly. They get E. coli fecal infections in their fucking noses. Kill yourself. Just kill yourself. And their bones deteriorate. They fall to pieces. And there are people right now in the United States who are not crazy. There's no evidence they're crazy, who have said they will take a one-way trip to Mars.
One way.
Deliver me to Mars, and I'll live there and try to send me rockets with air and food. And if you fail, I'll die there.
Whatever, I'll just
And I'm reading this book, and all of a sudden, my house, which is over 10,000 square feet, is too claustrophobic for me. Because it's like those first, the Gemini guys and stuff and the Apollo guys, they were sitting in, a small Volkswagen.
Yeah, the Mercury capsule. Your guy was alone
and pissing into their own suit for like 4 or 5 days, and the helmet on, just filling with their own funk. And there's guys that testing. This is a job for you. There are guys. There are guys that get the job testing who aren't astronauts, but get the job of lying in bed for 100 days without sitting up to see their bones deteriorate, and drinking through straws, and all they do is measure their own shit and what they eat.
And he doesn't even get the glory of being the guy.
No glory. But they love helping the space program. And there are people that have been locked in rooms, 5-person teams, in a smaller room than this, for 500 days.
Can I
imagine this? All these windows just stop, and we are in here for 500 days. How soon before we kill each other?
Let me jump in here for a second. So you're saying when they stepped on the moon for the first time, their spacesuits were filled with shit?
Yes.
Didn't they have any kind of way to fucking to clean that out?
They don't.
They sort of have things they could do now, but
they have never
going back to 1969.
They have never found a zero-G toilet that works.
That glorious moment they were filled with shit.
It turns out that when you are evacuating your bowels, a big part of what gets it to vac from your bowels is gravity. And without gravity, it just kind of hangs there, and they have to scoop it out of each other's asses. And then they have to put it in a bag, and they have to put pills in the bag, and then squeeze it up. Squeeze it so that the pills go in there. Otherwise, it will ferment and blow up the bag and pop and fill the air that's all around you with shit. This book is the most nightmare book. And I don't think, I was reading this stuff going, I don't think I could sit in the capsule for 15 minutes. And then none of this is mentioned. Then there's a rocket on your ass, and they're blowing you into space, where your chances of dying are as high as anything you've ever done.
Right.
And they talk about how the astronauts on the Apollo program would not eat or eat just cheese so that they wouldn't shit for 8 days in space.
Why don't they do something like, you ever get a colonic?
If you've got a solution to this, it would be really cool.
My guess would be, why can't they do something like a colonic with water? Like if you've gotten them, it does filter you back through the tube where you're using pressure. So why not do that every other or third day? Yeah, but it does work. It's like without any effort, you're lying on your back, the water's being pumped in, it cleans you out, and it pulls the fecal matter out with you. With the water.
I would like nothing more in my life than for that sentence to win you a Nobel Prize.
I would love it too.
I would love to see you in Stockholm in the tuxedo going,
James Norton. They all clap. Here he is.
Right.
I was just talking on the radio.
Yes. You know, it wasn't long ago I was talking on the radio about,
and of course, let's go to our Nobel laureate, Jim Norton, for the news.
But why wouldn't that was not a bad idea, right? You put a little fucking hose, you just put a little hole in the back of the suit.
Call NASA. Let's call them right now.
We
got the solution.
NASA on the blower.
Hole in the back of your suit.
But
I can't get past the fact that they had shit in their spacesuits when they're stepping on the moon.
That's why they walk so awkwardly.
Right. Jumping around with shit.
They're jumping around because their asses itch so fucking bad.
And if you vomit in your suit, which you always do,
they always do get sick,
it stops your visibility. And then you can't get your hands to your face to wipe it out of your nose, and it's floating. You know, I've been in 0G. I went on the vomit
comet.
I went 0G, and I got this idea. I went with Billy Gibbons, which
Who's that?
Seems odd.
From the ZZ Top?
ZZ Top, yeah. So it was me, ZZ Top, and test pilots. And it was an illegal flight that we took. We went illegally with a guy who had an Air Mexico 747 and said he'd do the parabola.
A 747?
And what you do to do 0G is you do parabolas, just like that.
That's up and down, like almost like a heart monitor, it looks like.
Yeah. So we did it over the ocean. And, you know, the pilot's just trying to go straight down. So I had decided, I was on with 2 astronauts and some test pilots. And I had decided, you know the movie Barbarella?
Sure.
Yes.
I had decided that what Billy Gibbons wanted to do was he wanted to bring an amp and a guitar.
I saw this video, by the way. It's hilarious.
And at 0G, he wanted to play the guitar.
You should look this up.
That was his dream.
Everyone had something they wanted to do.
My dream, my dream was to do the striptease from Barbarella. The beginning of Barbarella, Jane Fonda goes, Barbarella psychedelic, kind of like a conch shell of love. And she's stripping, but she's on glass. She's on like a Danny Thomas glass coffee table. And she's
never lived that down.
She's moving around like that, and she's not really weightless. So I said to the astronauts, I want to do a striptease, and I want to sing Barbarella. And Billy Gibbons said, well, okay, I'll play a little guitar. And my hair was much longer then because I've cut it off for Locks of Love. But it was much longer then, as long as Jane Fonda's in Barbarella. Now, the similarities between me and Jane Fonda and Barbarella may end at hair length.
Yeah,
you got it right here. They got me floating around here. Take a ride on the NASA.
What year is that? How long ago?
I don't know. Must be in the 90s sometime. There's me and Billy. And so I'm doing that. And when I start stripping, right, the astronauts don't really understand that when I say I'm going to strip down fully naked. So what you do is you've got 35 seconds of 0G, then you got 35 seconds of 2G. And 0G is exhilarating. You weigh nothing. This 300-pound fat fuck weighs zero. It's terrific. But at 2Gs, I weigh 600 pounds.
You can't get something for nothing.
And it's just depressing and horrible and miserable.
How
they
sick
make
did
you
you
get down on the ground.
That's where the story's going.
They make you get on the floor.
You get down on the floor and you lay down.
Get on the floor.
And then you can't even lift your arms. Right?
Really?
So I'm doing Barbarella, and this astronaut. He's a fucking astronaut, which I figure if you're an astronaut and you've been breathing other people's piss, shit, and vomit, you're not going to be very squeamish about things.
Right.
But somehow, he's holding the video camera, somehow he's a little surprised when I actually do take my underwear off, throw it in the air, and little Houdini is flapping in the breeze. Weightless little Houdini. And I'm singing, Barbarella. So I'm trying to do the Barber. And in my head, because I am a psychopath, in my head, I really do look exactly like Jane Fonda.
Of course.
But the way the astronauts are reacting, I don't think I do. Your reaction, if Jane Fonda in 1968 were floating in front of you weightless, turns out is very different from your reaction if Penn Jillette.
You look more like the tank she sat on.
So did you have to now be totally naked in 2Gs laying on the floor?
Well, that's where it goes. So I took off my belt and I swung my belt around because that's part of being a sexy stripper.
Of course.
And my dad had just died a year before and had given me a belt that he had with a silver dollar in it. And when I swung the belt around, it hit the fuselage and the silver dollar came out. And somehow I didn't understand in my panic, in my 0G, that the fuselage was closed, and we just find the
You're
coin
not going
later.
to lose it, right?
I'm not going to lose the coin that my father gave me. I love my dad.
If the coin gets outside, you got more problems.
So I go running naked.
Yeah, no kidding.
I go running naked now for the coin, and all the astronauts are going, "We're going to 2G. Get down, get down." And I go, "No, I want to get this coin." They go, "Get down. Find it later. Get down." I go, no, I want to get, I can see it. Bam! And I hit the fuselage at 2G naked, flat on my face, and I now weigh 600 pounds.
Yeah.
And the coin, which weighs a pound, is in my hand, and I've got it. But I haven't been sitting in the right position. So now they go 35 seconds of that. Oh no, with the astronauts crawling to me to make sure I'm okay. And then, okay, we're going 0G. So now I float in the air. Now I'm disoriented. Now I'm holding the coin. And now I am vomiting while I'm naked, and the astronaut is holding me, and he goes, "Hey, you're not singing Barbarella now, are you?"
What a horrible scene.
Does everyone vomit on that thing? I mean, hence the name?
No, I was not going to vomit until I was stupid and went after that coin from my dad.
So when you get that, you're in the wrong position to take the 2Gs?
Yeah.
And how does the pilot fly that thing?
Oh my God!
You go.
No, I understand that, but how does he keep?
He's strapped in
and control if it goes to 2Gs when he can't really move himself.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. There's astronauts who have come in and pulling 8 Gs.
Yeah,
and at 8. fingers up. Your fingers are too heavy. Just kill yourself. If you ever get, if somehow they say you guys are accepting the space program, kill yourself.
Just kill yourself. You're not going to enjoy it.
You're not going to enjoy it.
How long was the trip for? That's pretty interesting, man.
I did, well, that's the thing. The first 8 parabolas are the greatest thing in the world. We did 30.
Oh, wow. Shit.
So actually, we were completely weightless for 15 minutes.
Damn.
But we were also 2Gs for 15 minutes.
They did that in Apollo 13, the movie. They built a little set inside one of the set of the lunar module and the command module inside the fuselage of one of these planes, and did that so many times to get all these shots, so it didn't look like the old-fashioned on a string or shit like that. It looked weightless because they were weightless.
And
when
the
they go
interesting
through the
thing was Tom Hanks did not strip naked and sing Barbarella.
No, he didn't.
But what would you, if you were going to be weightless? What's the first thing you would think?
Yeah, Ron Howard did though when he was filming it.
You would think, I want to fuck in zero G. Right?
You would think.
And I did think that. And there was an attractive woman, like a test pilot on there, with aftermarket breasts and very, very attractive. And I said to her, we're going to be in zero G. I'm going to be stripping naked doing Barbarella. Billy's going to be playing guitar. But do you want to fuck?
Sounds romantic.
Would that be fun?
You got to ask at least.
And she says to me, well, I certainly like to go out with you after today. I said, we're not talking about after today. What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't want to have dinner with you next week. I don't want to call you. This is a science experiment. This is 2 hamsters in a cage that's floating in the river. This is to see what it'll feel like to fuck somebody. And your position would be somebody. She goes, well, I don't know if I'm comfortable. I go, why don't you be comfortable? Yeah. We're going to be in zero G. You're not going to be comfortable. Do you want my penis in you? It doesn't matter. Do you want anybody here? As a matter of fact, pick somebody. Anybody here will fuck you. I'll watch. I'll be happy.
It's good you smooth talker though.
Yeah. There's no time for smooth talk. No. You're gonna be weightless.
You only
in
have
35 seconds.
35 seconds.
How long
to get it done?
Yeah, 35 seconds.
Would your dick get hard like that though? Could you get your cock hard in zero gravity? Would that be weird?
Yes.
I'd like to see what it feels like during the 2Gs and how deep you could get in.
Oh God, your cock would be so heavy.
Your cock weighs 4 pounds.
Just a heavy cock.
Although I would think the whole...
But you haven't got time to go, in 30 seconds, you're going to be weightless. Oh, you get a little something in your eye.
Yeah.
Want to undo your hair a little bit. Oh, my, without your glasses, you're beautiful.
No time for that. Let's fuck.
Yeah, let's fuck, quick.
I would think with every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It would be kind of a little rough to
Some people believe...
Gs.
See, I have fucked 40 feet below water in scuba equipment. I have done that. And it's very hard to keep your neutral buoyancy. It's very hard to be safe. And I also almost froze her to death because, I have much more body mass and she was a skinny model. So there were some parts of her body that looked kind of blue. But I've done that. So, I knew you could do the pushing and stuff. And I also knew Billy Gibbons would help. He's a rock and roller.
How could you get a rod under those circumstances? I could never do that.
You could too.
No, I couldn't. I'm very specific.
Very distracted.
Well, we could bring in the horse porno. You could watch that while you're...
Yes, good old Kenny Pinion, yes. naughty Boeing engineer he was.
What makes you scared, man? Because you do everything. Does anything scare you? Where you're like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing that.
I don't tend to get...
I know you don't.
Get that,
I've learned that over the years with you.
But I also found out that Mary Roach, who wrote the book about Mars, Packing from Mars... I wrote to her a fan letter. I write fan letters like crazy. But they're not just fan letters like, go on O&A. I like what you're doing.
Old school fan letters.
Old school, yeah, I do that. And she had been zero G. And she does this whole chapter, which is about fucking in space, where she says the desire to do it is so overwhelming, someone must have done it. But the danger of being caught and how reprimanded you would be, nobody could have done it. So it's completely powerful. And she said when she got on her zero G flight, she said to a guy there, let's just fuck. Let's just do. She was doing the same thing that I was doing.
Should have been on the same flight.
Absolutely. If we were on the same flight, we could have negotiated that deal.
Zero G fucking going on.
By the second parabola, every astronaut would be breathing piss, shit, vomit, and my cum.
And some cum and vaginal secretions.
Sure.
And whatever else comes out of there.
It's the first first thing you think about, right? And I'll tell you, just so you know, if you and I are ever in 0G, I'm fucking you.
I'd jerk you off at least, out of respect.
Of course you would.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about the purpose of life, in a godless universe, is to get good stories.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can beat I jerked off Jim Norton in 0G.
It's not gay if you're in 0G.
No, if there's no gravity, all bets are off.
But I mean, that would be a great story.
Doing it for the story.
Yeah, you jerk each other off, you laugh about it later.
We're all in agreement.
And he's got, how many questions have you got? What was it like when you came? How did that feel?
I would never be able to come. You know how awful it would be to fucking collapse and have his hand still on my cock at 2 G's? I can't get your hand off my dick.
I can't lift my hand. I can't lift my hand.
Then you look at each other and go, wow, this is really gay.
My hand is good one. Stuck. And then we start vomiting.
Yeah. And then we land and they have to pry us apart.
That just sounds like a great
story, man.
What a good date.
You're right, that is good.
But you mean, you guys, they're starting to do, it's no longer illegal and sneaking around. They'll now do it for like rich guys, do the parabolas of 0G.
I don't know if I have the balls to do it.
I would get very, very sick.
I would like to think I do.
Yeah, well, you get sick, sure, but it's worth it. You're 0G. You're
like,
fucking
you ever skydive?
I haven't skydived.
Is that something you're scared of?
I'm not scared of it. No, I just haven't done it. Now you do it on someone's back. They do that to save you from having to learn anything. You know what I mean?
Did you ever see the video of the guy who jumps out without a parachute, and then the guy has to jump after him with the parachute? Yeah. He's like a stunt guy.
Yeah.
And he jumps out, and he just fucking takes a sip of an energy drink and jumps out of the fucking plane. And then his guy jumps out after him and puts the parachute on him as they're falling.
That's some crazy
shit. They do. They do that. There's also something I've heard about, but I haven't seen it, of a guy that jumps out with a camera and forgets his parachute and films the whole.
Oh shit!
But that description is so horrible. You got that too?
How do you forget?
Can you turn it a little more, Sim?
Oh, is this the guy?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah, there. Take some energy drink. There it goes.
He's falling with no
his shorts and sunglasses on. This guy's rules.
Does he have an erection? Because, there's a guy you jerk off.
And he's free falling. This isn't like just jump out and give me the chute.
So now they grab him to put the parachute on.
Imagine if his friends really hated him and they're like, fuck him. Let's just let him go.
Screw you.
How much time do you think they got to do this?
Oh, so they're tandem strapping him.
Yeah.
I guess. They're not...
I think they're raping him.
It really does look like they're...
Can you move that mouse, Sam?
How much do you want that parachute? Because that's your time to negotiate.
Yeah.
Imagine they go right up to him, they whisper in his ear, "We never liked you. Fuck you."
How much?
And then don't do what they were supposed to do.
That is your negotiation.
That's your time for negotiation.
Yeah. Holy shit.
That ground's getting a lot closer.
I'm going to give you my parachute. There's a few things I'd like to have from you first.
Yeah.
That sure is a pretty mouth.
That's fucked up.
I would be so fucking scared.
The thought of jumping out of a plane without a parachute on your back
That's trust right there,
is amazing.
With a parachute stinks.
Yeah, with a parachute would be scary.
You ever watch the footage of Captain, what's his name, Joe, the guy who jumps from 102,000?
From the hot air balloon. Yeah, hot air balloon. Listen to me. What is the fucking Wizard of Oz? His hot air balloon.
Joe
His
Kittinger.
infernal device. Hot air balloon.
Yeah, Joe Kittinger fucking jumped. That's the chilling footage. And he said he didn't feel like he was falling. He's like, I thought I wasn't falling until I looked back and saw the balloon had gained distance because it was so low gravity.
He's just got nothing to base it
on. And when you watch
the
helmet cam he had on, it's like, you see the Earth and the space going by. It's great.
God, yeah, when they told me once you've been 0G, your brain knows what it's like to feel 0G. And so when I was flying home, like on a Southwest flight, it was great because we hit a bump. We had turbulence and we hit a bump, and I was sleeping, and I just undid my seatbelt and just pushed. It's so great, and I'm so fucking stupid big. I mean, I'm gigantic. I've been gigantic since I was 6 years old. So the idea of weighing nothing, I mean, me weighing nothing is a bigger deal than you guys weighing nothing.
When did you hit 6?
Terrific.
When did you hit 6 foot?
Early. When the girls hit 6 foot. I was bigger than my 5th grade teacher.
Wow.
It's just, and people that teach elementary school are counting on all their charges being smaller than
you were
them.
almost one of those giants.
Yeah,
one of those
the Jewish giant at home in Brooklyn. I was a Diana Arbus movie happening. My whole life was that, and it was just. And the other thing is, my son is 4, and he's the size of a Buick, and he's huge. And you see him go through this thing because he's very articulate. He speaks very well, and he's giant. So people think he's in like 2nd grade, and yet emotionally he's a little 4-year-old boy. Oh, no. So you also get treated. And I also remember, and no one talks about the problems with enormous kids in school, but when I was in junior high, and I was bigger than any of you, my best friend was like 5 feet tall, and we would be playing, and strangers would come over, absolute strangers would come over to me and say, hey, what are you doing here with these little kids? Get out of here.
Hey, sir. Yeah.
Get out of here. And I would go, what? I had no idea. And I get to be like 22, and I went, wait a minute. They thought I was trying to fuck those kids.
They thought you were a pedo.
But you have no idea of that.
Did you have like facial hair and stuff?
No, I wasn't that kind of.
Weren't able to have a beard?
It wasn't that kind of. It was strictly size. I looked very.
Because a friend of mine was able to grow a full beard in the first year of high school. Big beard, and he was.
We all had one of those guys.
He was constantly getting thrown out. Like they were just like, hey, you get out of here. Get out. He's like, no, go here.
Did they recruit you for basketball?
Oh, they tried to do all that stuff, but
I think you weren't an athlete, right?
Guy. Yeah. I'm not a sports guy at all.
They must have been so frustrated. Like, you know what we could have if you could just throw that stupid ball in a hoopie.
And I was also a juggler. So I was unicycling, juggling, doing all this hand-eye stuff.
Nice, but the dexterity
the team sports stuff, I just didn't like. And they,
the coaches must have cried themselves to sleep every night.
I went out for one basketball thing, and I went out and I was okay, I played a little bit, and I missed a shot, and the coach kind of cuffed me in the side of the head. Hey, what are you doing, Jillette? Just not, I forgive me if I just touched your shoulder, but just kind of cuffed me. And the way I was brought up, I said, did you just hit me? He said, well, no, you should have made that shot. I said, you just fucking hit me. He said, don't use that language here. And I said, it's after school. I'm not in your class. Fuck you. I'm leaving. And he said, you don't leave. You go out there and prove to us what you can be on the basketball court. I said, I'll prove to you that what I can be is off the basketball court.
Fuck you.
And fuck you. And he said, that language will not be tolerated. I said, we don't have any problem because you go fuck yourself. I get out of here. Everybody's happy. And that was my one day of basketball. And he was my math teacher, algebra teacher.
Oh, shit.
I got 100% on every test the rest of the year and got a D. Oh. He had no qualms at all about punishing me for not playing basketball. And then football season would come along, and they'd say, if you'd cut your hair so you didn't look like a homo, we'd have you on the football team. And I said, well, that's good.
Did you?
I'm not going to cut my hair, and I'm not going to go on your football team.
But I will be a homo.
Right.
That's a much better sounding thing. Let me get this straight. Homo, we get to listen to records and get blowjobs. And out there, I get to have other sweaty guys bump into me and knock me down. I'll take the kimono and the Judy Garland records, please. That's an easy choice for me.
Homo. That's the funniest thing to call someone, too.
Yeah.
You homo.
Well, this is, it's the 70s.
Yeah.
So 70s,
you can't do that now, Pat.
You wouldn't say gay.
Not allowed to say all that stuff now.
No,
people get very offended.
I was quoting someone saying it to me, of course.
Yeah, of course.
No, it's not what
we don't understand why people are offended by dumb words.
I called him a motherfucker.
There you go. Bringing it back.
Also, anything you've got to cut your hair to do isn't that good.
No.
I mean, I did the locks of love thing, but,
That's something,
Yeah, and it scared me to death. I've had hair down my back forever.
Yeah.
And there we were cutting off my ponytail. And I'm thinking, she's probably going to die anyway. So I really have to cut off my hair for the. But it was too late then.
Yeah.
It's very hard during a press release to go, yes, we're here because this will be made for wigs for cancer patients.
Yeah.
Jesus, it feels nice in my back. Fuck her. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, but they don't have to throw the wig in the casket. If you want to be brutal, she can always leave it to somebody else.
Oh, God.
So now I look like a Marine. Look like a Marine.
Oh, yeah.
You're so short.
I wonder if anybody knows it's, hey, this, by the way, is Penn Jillette's hair.
I think, I think there's not a child who wouldn't run screaming. Okay. First cancer, then chemo, now Penn Jillette's hair.
But I heard he's a homo. Damn it.
Did you guys play sports? You all played sports.
Nah, I didn't play
I played
any
basketball,
sports.
but I didn't have your height.
Yeah. Well,
that's why it kills me.
I was a pitcher when I played baseball.
I did nothing
Is
but
that a
smoke
euphemism?
pot in high
No.
school. That was it. I smoked pot. I regret it. I regretted it until I got this cool gig. But I regretted not doing better in school.
It was amazing.
My grades were. I had great grades. I started smoking pot very late in life. And I had really
late
great
life
grades.
isn't high school, is it?
Well, for smoking weed, a lot of people start in like junior high and shit. You know,
you always had the stoners in junior high.
But I was like great in junior high, even into high school. But then, like my last 2 years of high school, I started smoking pot, and what you could graph this and just watch like wham, fell off the face of the earth. I didn't want to do anything. Didn't want to go to class. Didn't understand how my friends were graduating. Because they were cutting class too, but they would cut one class and I'd see them, but then I'd see the other guy from the other class. And I didn't understand they were going to their other classes. I was the one that saw everyone because I wasn't going to any class.
And would you have been texting too?
I would have been if I could have had a cell phone back then, but no cell phones. I'd have to pass notes. We had pass notes.
Pass notes.
Yeah, we had pass notes. Or you'd get into desk wars, which was like texting or emailing, where you'd be, whoever sits here at third period sucks.
Yeah.
Hey, fuck you. I'll find out who this is. You'll fuck your mother, you piece of shit. And it would just go. Like the desk. And then someone would watch the desk, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Well, we have to start
a good
over.
argument with this guy. Right. It was great. Desk wars.
I hadn't made my point yet.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten my point across on this desk yet.
I was just laying the foundation, the Socratic desk method.
Exactly.
And if you were a man, and Plato was a man, and you fuck your mother, and now, by a simple syllogism, you suck ass. They watch the desk.
Come back the next day, homo. All right. He made his point, too.
Oh, just so to remind everybody, too, the plug's important. Penn is here.
Yes.
And he's here to promote the fact that I'm going to be in Poughkeepsie the 19th and 20th.
That's the only reason he came in.
Bananas Comedy Club.
That's the only reason he came in.
But he's also, obviously, Play Dead is something Teller is doing. It's at the Players Theater. And I'm going to give you the number and the website. It's 800-982-2787. And you can just go online, Playdead NYC, PLAYDEADNYC.com. And if you're in Vegas,
it's a great show, and it's in a little theater, and it's down to the
When's it
Players
start?
Theater. It's already in previews. You can
progress,
go tonight, and then it opens tomorrow night. That's when I'll be there because I go to the big important opening.
Nice, yeah.
I'm going to Collins opening tonight, actually.
Oh, yeah. I was going to go to that. Then I decided to go to, I wanted to go, and I'm going to Merchant of Venice with Al Pacino.
Al Pacino, yeah, I'd like to see that as
Across
well.
the street. Hey, you haven't seen Colin's show
No,
yet?
it's great.
It's great.
Really good.
I saw it in the
Pat.
smaller theater.
It's really smart. I think you would like it a lot.
Yeah, I want to see it, but
I saw it in the tiny theater, and now
very funny.
Now they've got a lot of production behind it.
I bumped into Al Pacino at a restaurant, and I said, I really want to get to see your show, and it's sold out all the time. And I'm trying to go through a friend of mine to get one ticket. And he said,
Did he chip a tooth on your kneecap?
we are different sizes.
Yes.
And
So you picked him up and held him like a child and talked to him?
Yeah, what I did was I said, in 0G, I'd fuck you. You would have a choice. And he said, tell them that Al wants you to have a seat. And I said, I could call up the producer and say, Al Pacino wants me to have a seat. It'll work. He said, yes. I said, why wouldn't everybody do that? He said, I don't know that many people. I said, but they're going to take my word? So I called the producer and I said, I bumped into Al Pacino at a restaurant. He'd like me to have a ticket. Okay, we'll get you one.
Wow.
This was completely sold out, done, couldn't do it. So I shouldn't say this on the radio.
Exactly.
Now everyone's going to try it.
Do you know Al, though?
I had never met him, and I met him at the restaurant. We had a wonderful talk.
Wow, that's great.
Fuck.
Wow, that is
I would love to do that.
That's a big fun. What would you say?
That's
to
real
him?
fame right there.
Hey, I loved you
Penn
in
is-
The Godfather.
Penn is interesting.
There you go.
What would you possibly say?
I would just tell him how much I loved him in The Deer Hunter. And I would bang the drum slowly. You were amazing. I would do nothing but fuck him up with De Niro.
And where did your mole go?
Exactly. Do you really like black chicks? They're not my thing, Al.
You just,
Tremendous.
I don't know.
You're going by yourself. That's fucking good.
I am going by myself. I will sit there for 3 hours enjoying Shakespeare's depiction of our Jewish brothers and sisters.
Yes, in your Al Pacino complimentary
Al Pacino seat.
Yes.
That Al says. He wants me to have a seat. I have a seat.
There's going to be 50 people there going, wait a minute. Al said I could sit here.
Yeah, Al just says that the way Opie tells people, "Nah, come on the show. We'd love to have you." And then they call and he's like, "What are you talking about?"
Be quiet. That's exactly what I expected. But it did work. Yeah. That's the genius. It worked. Yeah. It worked.
You haven't seen it yet.
Go to...
Let us know.
I just want to tell everybody listening, when you go to Las Vegas, just call the box office at the Penn Jillette Theater at the Rio and say, Penn wants me to have a seat.
That's it. He wants me to have a seat at some other show, but...
I'm doing Vegas in February. I actually want to go out a day early and see you guys. I've never seen your show. I really want to...
I want to see the Vegas show badly.
Very much.
I've never been to a Penn and Teller show.
No, I haven't either, but I want to go.
Playing?
I don't even remember the name of the place. It's just a one-night thing. It's a small place. But I'm going to go out a day early and see their show.
I saw you guys up in Boston years ago.
We do a lot of we've done 6 hours of new material since we've been in Vegas.
Can I ask you something?
Just crank it
Does
through.
it get boring to do the same show?
No, we don't do the same show.
Night?
First of all, we change it whenever we want.
No, for you guys. I mean, obviously the crowd will always.
Oh no, we change it even.
What
for
do you guys
ourselves.
do to each other just to make it?
We don't do any of that stuff.
Nothing?
We're just trying to do it better every night. A friend of mine, Michael Goudot, head writer on Bullshit. Said he's a juggler, worked on the Lance Burton show, and he said variety arts, juggling and magic, are for people who see Groundhog Day and think, that seems like a good thing. I like that. It really is great to be able to go out and do the same thing and get better at it.
Okay, because we had a friend on
You're
Broadway.
practicing every day.
We had a friend on Broadway, and he was begging us to just fucking kidnap him. He couldn't take it anymore.
Well, that's also, you're doing someone else's...
couldn't fucking take it.
But that wasn't something he wrote himself, right?
No, and then I said, well...
Makes a big difference.
Well, at least you mixed it up a little bit, and wow, how you fell into that, that dumpster. That you made that up, obviously, just to make it interesting. He goes, no, I do that exact fucking move every fucking night. Yeah. Even the stuff you think we're improvising is not improvised.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much true.
Nuts.
But it's stuff that we write, and then we also write new stuff all the time. We put in a new bit every couple of months.
Yeah, good for you.
So we're working on it all the time, and there's no reason to. Other shows
you've
keep
been
it
able
the
to
same
just
for
years,
30
do the
years.
same thing, right?
And we tell people we write new stuff and put it in. They go, why? And we go, because when we were 12 years old, all we wanted to do in life was write stuff and do it on stage. Well, Oh, yeah, I know, but now you get success, you don't have to do that. It's all we ever wanted to do. We worked our asses off
to get to where you're at. So
I don't know how do you write magic?
Well,
I understand. Come on, thanks, Anson.
Jimmy, I understand you got to write the production around it, but like to come up with a trick or a gag or whatever you want to call it.
You get this idea for something we want to do. We want to.
Yeah, but then you got to figure out how the fuck to do it and not let other people onto it.
And it takes. We did this. Jesus. We did this thing where we saw a woman in half. We saw her in half. We show how it's done, and then we fuck up and saw her in half again, and it gets really bloody and everything. So we have to do a complete sawing in half, and then do it a completely different. So we have to have it a complete trick, and then have another trick on top of it.
Right.
It took us 2.5 years.
Wow.
$80,000.
Jesus.
Of R&D working on it, and it is 2.5 minutes in our show. 2.5 minutes. And the guys we work with go, anybody else with that much work you'd put in it. It's the hardest thing we've done. We're hitting levers and switches and the timing, and we had to rebuild it 5 times and it didn't work and all this shit. And, it's 2.5 minutes on stage. It takes the crew an hour and a half to set it for it to work once. Everything has to be perfect. And we do this whole thing, and everybody that works with us goes, shouldn't you be getting a half hour out of this? And we go, it's so boss at 2.5 minutes. It's like, holy fuck, they'll do anything. And then after the show, people come and go, that trick was amazing, but you didn't build it up enough. We didn't know. I go, you know it was good. That's all.
That's all.
That's all we need. That's fine. Because we're now at the point where we have so much material, we keep shortening shit up.
Right.
So stuff we work on for a couple years can be 2 minutes, and we're thrilled with
just give them the prestige. That's all we give.
How long is your show? What, 90 minutes?
Yeah, we do 90 minutes. And I play jazz for an hour beforehand. I play upright bass, bebop. So come in, when you come to the show, come an hour early and hear some great jazz. And then we do our show, and it's, and we also meet everybody afterwards.
Do you still get stumped by magicians? Do you see them and go like,
well, it's interesting.
I know how everything works.
We're doing a show that's not announced yet, but we're doing a show over in England called Fool Us, which will be just magicians coming on.
What a great idea.
And
that's great.
If they fool us, they get a trip to Vegas and get to do a show. And if they don't fool us, we bust them right there. So that's a double lift and you force the card.
Idea,
and they're right now. And it's weird because we created the show. It's our idea. But because of all the laws and stuff, we can't know anything about it. So there's 40 people working on this show, including friends of mine. And I get an email from friends of mine that said, hey, I got hired on your show. I've been told I can't talk to you, write you emails, or have any contact with you for 2.5 months. Bye.
Oh, shit.
Because, they're finding the guys.
Right.
They're rehearsing it. They want them to be all on the up and up. And so we're just going to sit there.
Great fucking idea.
Where do you sit in the audience and watch
It's not really Fool Us. It's really Fool Teller, and Penn talks about it. Because Teller knows everything.
When you see
Play Dead, it's the best magic you'll ever see in this plotted show about death and the afterlife and so on. But the tricks are amazing because Teller is one of the top 5 magic minds alive today, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And when I go to a show with Teller, the magic show, the real truth of it is I sit there very smug, very cool. I'm a professional magician. I'm Magician of the Year, 5 years. I'm one of the best in the world. And I sit there and go to Teller, what are they doing there? And Teller goes, it's a 45-degree angle mirror under the table.
He can actually figure that shit out?
Really? Yes.
Oh, shit.
And then people after the show go, that's done. I go, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Got it.
We've got it set up so I sit there, we watch it. And then Teller and I go into soundproof booth, and we confer for a minute. And then I come out and explain.
He told you what the fuck just happened.
He's going to tell me every one of them. Unless the guy's doing the hippity hop rabbits, I'll be totally in the fucking dark. So my acting job is to pretend while I'm watching that I'm figuring something out,
smug.
instead of just waiting for Teller to tell me. Because if I was really doing it, I'd be just looking over at Teller going, do we have it?
Yeah.
Do we know?
Hope you know what's
do
going
we know? Are we going to get fucked in this one, or do you
got to
know?
look and put your hand on your chin and just go, all right.
It's that. It's that thing.
When he does something, you just go, oh, come on. Come on.
Yeah, that's my part. And then Teller, what are they
What
doing?
a great idea for a show.
But Teller is...
I would so watch that.
I love it.
Teller's great, because, we'll go to see Copperfield, and I'll go...
Boo.
What's he doing? What's he doing?
Is he still hard to figure out for you, though?
It's a false bottom.
No,
I go, really?
Copperfield got lazy. I saw him in Vegas.
He still can do some good
you
tricks.
You can say what you want. I was not impressed.
Really?
I didn't like.
How's Lance Burton?
Lance Burton is closed.
Oh, okay.
Lance Burton is done. Lance Burton retired.
Was he good though?
He just quit.
Who's the guy to see right now?
Yeah, he was good.
Besides you guys.
Well, the guy to see in Vegas, and no one believes me because it's an afternoon show, is Mac King. Mac King does an afternoon show at Harrah's for $8. It's like, a drink minimum. It's nothing. And to me, he is the best comedy magician working in the world. And he is, comedy magicians, and you've seen a lot of them because you work on bills with them. They're usually, comedy magicians means none of the magic fools you and they're not funny. They don't do either. And Matt King is sincerely funny, and the tricks will fool the shit out of you. And he's got a show like at 1 in the afternoon and 3 in the afternoon. So people say to me, what show should I see? And I go in the afternoon to Harrah's and see Matt King. And they go, you're kidding. And they always come back and go, holy fuck, he's really good.
Chips Cooney is probably the greatest comic magician. Do you know Chips Cooney?
No, I don't. How do I not know?
He was on America's
Cooney
Got Talent.
Very gifted. Very gifted magician.
He's pretty funny, man. He's been around a long time. And then he got on America's Got Talent this past season.
How did I miss
Chips?
Yeah,
Never seen Chips live.
It's good.
There's some good people.